Alright, so right now we are talking about Law 29. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Okay? So, kind of goes along with not acting in boldness. So if you're bold, if you know what you're going to do, it's going to be better. Okay? If you're timid and you don't know what you're going to do, it's going to be worse for you. So, planning all the way to the end. It's going to make you seem clairvoyant. It's going to make you seem like a god on Mount Olympus. A god among mortals, seeing everything that's going to happen in the future, okay? The ending is everything. By planning all the way to the end, you're not going to be overwhelmed by things that you may not have seen, okay? Let's say you set out on a mission and you haven't planned all the way to the end. What if something pops up that you didn't expect? If that happens, you might not be able to improvise and deal with it right on the spot. It might ruin you, okay? It might ruin your mission. It might stop you. So it's best to plan all the way to the end. Now, I'm just going to talk about the reversal right now too, because it makes sense to talk about it right now. So the reversal simply says that keep a bit of flexibility in your vision, okay? So you plan to the end, but some things might change. Some things might be a little bit different, and you might have to do a little bit of adapting in those times. But you want to have everything mapped out and be like, hey, this is pretty much what's going to happen. These things could happen, and there might be some things that I don't even see. Know that you have a little bit of flexibility in your plans, but make sure that they go all the way to the end. Most men are ruled by their heart, not head. So if you're ruled by your heart, basically you're in your emotions all the time. So it's kind of like you're following this emotion. You might be following anger. You might be following sadness. You might be following happiness. You're not following your head. You're not planning with your head. You need to plan with your head more intellectually rather than emotionally. Like we talked about in how to create a cult, like following, to always emphasize emotion, always emphasize enthusiasm over rationality. You don't want to do that. You want to use your head to think and plan to the end. Not planning to the end leaves gaps for others to take the work you've done and make it their own. So I talked about this interaction with boldness. That if you're not bold, if you haven't planned all the way to the end, and I'm talking about these two laws together because they go together. Some of these laws, a lot of them actually go together. They fit with each other and they work together. So make sure that you are planning all the way to the end, because if not, there's going to be gaps and there's going to be ways, there's going to be opportunities for people to take advantage of you, and you do not want that. So most men do not know when to stop attacking because they don't have an end goal. So sometimes men, people, us, we go too far because we don't know when to stop. And going too far makes things worse for us. So you need to have an end goal. That's why planning to the end is so important. Let's say you were in a battle back in the day. You're like, oh, what we're going to do is take out this army and take this castle. If you don't have that goal, you're just going to keep going until maybe you take over and try to take over an army that's too big for you, that you're not ready to take over yet, and they kill you. Okay? That's just a clear-cut example from medieval times, because in this 48 Laws of Power book, we are talking, that it does talk about like medieval stories. Kings, queens, princes, kingdoms, castles, that kind of stuff, okay? So I'm also giving you like some more up-to-date stuff. Planning all the way to the end here could be like your daily job, your career, the date you're going on with a girl, the night of socializing that you have planned. Those are some modern, real-world examples of when you would be using this to plan all the way to the end, okay? So, foresee the future with as much clarity as the gods of Mount Olympus, who look down through the clouds and see the end of all things, okay? So that's what you need to do. It might sound kind of like a big task, but you need to be able to do that. There's quite a bit of things that you can do to gain better thinking. Obviously, you could eat better. You could read some books that give you strategies on how to think correctly, to see more clearly into the future, how to predict things better. You can use mathematics, whatever helps you out, go ahead and seek that out so that you can think clearer. Let's see. So, planning all the way to the end, you won't be tempted by your emotions or the urge to improvise. Sometimes you're like, oh, F it, let's just wing it. That's most likely not going to turn out good for you. Sometimes it might work, but I'm telling you, planning to the end is a bit better. Some of you might think like you live in the moment, you just do whatever happens, whatever arises. Think about and try to plan some things all the way to the end, you know. It could even be you starting planning your day to the end. So clarity rids you of anxiety and vagueness that are the main reasons for failure. So anxiety is worry. You're worried about what's going to happen. And vagueness is, although a good tactic for you to use when you're doing things like creating a cult-like following, it's not good to be vague in your plans because then you don't have a good map to follow. I like to call them mental maps. And if you want a coaching session where I help you install the right mental map, go ahead and message me. Go ahead and leave me a comment, and let's work together on getting you the right mental map so that we can clear your anxiety, so that we can lay down the right framework, the right thought patterns to take away the vagueness, to fill the vagueness with an actual action plan that you can follow. Okay? So, have a clear objective and far-reaching plan. So, whatever your objective is, it needs to be clear in your head, and your plans need to reach far. So far into the future, deep into the future. Laying out all possibilities and all routes of action for you. So you have to arrive somewhere in your mind before you can actually get there. And that's why I like to install the right mental maps. And like we already talked about, the reversal is just keeping a small amount of flexibility in your plans just in case something very unpredictable happens, because we can't predict everything. Sometimes stuff just happens that we can't predict, so we need to be a little bit flexible in our plans. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video, get notified, and make sure you're following Law 29 of the 48 Laws of Power, which is plan all the way to